Hello and welcome to Kicking Tires. My name is Jimmy,
And I'm Justin.
and today we got some pretty exciting news for you. I think you're gonna like what you're gonna see. First things first, Taycan. Of course, the Taycan's been out for a little while. We all know about the Taycan, but there's a brand new one. It's the Cross Turismo, not to be confused with Sport Turismo, which is their Panamera Sport Turismo, which is like the wagon version of the Panamera. This Cross Turismo is a higher riding vehicle that can off road.
Yeah, I think A6 all rose, so it's got a little bit of a fender flare on there, but it's gloss black, which doesn't really make sense in an off-road vehicle, but it's like the newer Audi all-road models. Yeah.
It, I love it. Okay, I'm a big fan of wagons, as you are. Wagons are absolutely beautiful vehicles. From a lot of manufacturers, I absolutely love them. This hits the spot for me. I love this.
Yeah, I mean the lines just work on this car. Like it still looks like a Taycan. It's but it looks just like the Panamera Sport Turismo kind of thing. Um, but yeah, it works so well as a shooting brake style hatchback. It's quite a steep angle on that rear hatch, so it's not a traditional maybe long roof wagon. Kind of more like the RS6 is a little bit longer. The Panamera is a little bit longer, I think. But yeah, this is it makes sense from a practicality standpoint and
Yeah,
kind of mass appeal, and it just looks great. Like it's what's to lose here with this
it's
with this.
it's a
Yeah,
lot less beluga than the regular Taycan.
I can see what you mean. Some people like that with the rear arches like all like quite bulbous. um that is more maybe classic Porsche 911, 928, those classic coupe lines that you would get on an older Porsche. But this one it's a bit cleaner, it's a bit simpler, more like the Cayenne and Macan.
Hmm. So there's four models that's going to be coming. The base is the 4. You get the 4S Turbo and Turbo S. 0 to 100 kilometer per hour time. I mean, ranges from like 5 seconds, I think it was, to like down to like under 3. So it's quick. It's just like the regular Taycan.
Yeah, it's
And
an impressive EV.
and there's a button, or sorry, there's not a button. There's a off-road. Well, there's, I think it's a button. It's an off-road mode, but it increases ground clearance by 30 millimeters. So you can like, I don't think no one's going rock crawling with this. It's really designed to
Mm.
be kind of like grassy hill or a little bit of a rocky trail kind of thing.
Yeah, if you got a bumpy driveway or something, having that extra clearance, keeping your battery safe, that's going to be appreciated with this vehicle. Not much competition either for this kind of car. I mean, Tesla, we have the Model X, which is would be downright ugly next to this thing. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, the S kind of competes, but it more
Mm,
competes with the regular Taycan rather than this cross Turismo.
yeah.
But that's really it. I mean, some people may cross shop like an RS6, but if you're really buying an RS6, you're buying it because it has, well, that 4 liter twin turbo 8. You're not
Right.
buying a Taycan. That
Yeah,
makes
I think the Panamera is more of a direct competitor to the RS6.
Yeah.
This one, the wheels look very Lambo. I don't know if you saw earlier.
Yeah, they have that cross shape to them that does look kind of Lambo-y.
Yeah, both wheels actually do look a little bit Lambo. The wheels they've released on it. It's kind of interesting that they went with this off-roady approach because overall the car is still very sleek and very low slung. Like the aerodynamic elements, the ground effects, um, they don't really shout off-road vehicle to me. But I think to sway that traditional SUV buyer, that
Mhm.
might be what they need.
Yeah, I think that's really the main focus here. It's a lot of buyers these days are moving towards SUVs. Porsche doesn't have a full electric SUV. the Cayenne, there's like a e hybrid version, so it's like a mild hybrid system, or sorry, not a mild hybrid, like a plug-in hybrid system,
Hmm.
I think. Um, but it's not a full electric vehicle, and they needed something to fill that void. And that's, you know, wagons aren't selling. They're not cool. Wagons aren't selling here in North America. People want an SUV, and this actually kind of fills that middle gap, and is what like the Outback was doing, like we were talking about last week. It's
Hmm.
successful. It's very successful.
Yeah, it's a unique product, and it looks great. It performs. What's not to like about this?
Yeah. Well, maybe the price point when that comes out, I'm sure it's going to be a little pricey.
It's going to be pricey, but it's going to be where we expect it for. It can't be that much more than a normal Taycan.
It's probably going to be about the same, if not maybe a little bit more. I'm suspecting it's going to be
Yeah,
a bit more.
yeah.
Because if you look at the Panamera versus Panorama Sport Turismo, the Sport Turismo is a bit more.
Hmm. And
So
even Audi all road versus the normal one is a little bit, always a little bit more.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. But that's really the Taycan. I think it's cool. It's unique. It's gonna sell. It's hard to say.
Hard to say. Maybe we'll touch base on this in a little bit after we cover a few more news stories.
Yeah, let's head to Honda. The next thing from Honda is the world's first level 3 automated driving. So it's the full autonomous, well, not full, but level 3 version of the autonomous driving. Um, it's on the brand new Honda Legend, which here in North America is not so new. It's just the RLX, which has been discontinued. But
For good reasons. Like,
there's really no real reason for this to stick around. But this is actually really cool. This is the world's first. Not even Tesla. Tesla's are like full self driving. They call it. It's not actually full self driving. That's only a level 2. So it still needs human
mm,
intervene interaction
yeah, sure, intervention.
intervention. That's what I was trying to say. Whereas this Honda says um, in more congested driving, it can be driving by itself on its own. You do not need to be
Yeah.
paying attention at all.
I think that makes a lot of sense because that's when I get kind of the most distracted or most kind of drowsy is in that stop and go, just like you just want to rip your eyes out traffic. I think that's going to be really nice to have this almost full autonomous driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you press a button. So what Honda says is when it's in congested driving, there's in Japan, there's a lot of like actual TVs inside. You can be literally watching that TV, watch your favorite shows while the vehicle drives.
Mm.
Perfect. It's a perfect vehicle to be driving in the city when things are a little bit, you know,
It's
boring.
just funny to me that they put this on the newest tech on their oldest sedan.
Yeah,
Like this platform doesn't make any sense that they use the Legend platform.
they
Um,
they probably looked at it. They're like, "Hey, what's the biggest vehicle we can fit this into?"
yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense, but people that want kind of this full size, large luxury sedan probably have their own driver. That to
well,
them was the autonomous
well, now
driving.
they can fire that driver, so they can just,
Exactly.
they don't have to pay the guy.
Yeah,
Uh,
because I don't want to drive something that big if I'm living in Japan. Like,
it is a lease only vehicle, so they're not selling it. They're only letting people lease this vehicle for a term, so that way they can take the vehicles back off the road in the future.
I think there's always liability, and I think that's probably why we probably won't see it in North America
No.
as soon as the rest of the world, because people love litigation here. Uh, yeah, I mean, how I've been using my Rav4 has the lane keep assist and the radar cruise control, and you can set your distance and stuff. I find just this weekend, actually, it was raining quite heavily going up to see the sky, and the distance, I think the adaptive part works great. The lane keep does not work so good in the rain. Like, you can't trust it to do it.
No, definitely not. It's not to keep you in your lane. That's not what the Toyota version is designed. It's really designed to, if something was to go wrong, it will try to push you back in your lane.
Yeah,
Whereas like
it can do it. Like on a straight, perfectly clear day, it will do it. It will actually keep me fairly centered. But yeah, no.
yeah. Well, that I think brings us to the next thing. Hyundai.
Yeah,
This one's quite cool. And I'm a big fan of this because it is their brand new Kona N.
Conan. Oh, Kona and
So the Kona, as you
Conan
may know, it's like their small SUV, and the N division is like their performance division. Think AMG or M division from
M.
BMW. Um, so what they did here is they are taking the Veloster N, the 2-liter turbo that makes 275 horse, I think, and shoving it into their SUV. It's smart. People are going to buy SUVs, a performance one, little one. People are going to buy this.
Yeah, I think the as far as end products go, the Veloster was kind of a halo car, but it's such an unconventional shape, and especially with its door configurations and whatever back in the day, and just the overall shape is not that appealing for a mass market buyer, I think.
Yeah.
And the size, the Kona shape is it makes sense, and it should be. It's that Veloster N is a riot. It's hilarious to drive.
It's more okay. So it sounds better than a Civic Type R. I wouldn't say it's
Mhm.
more fun than a Civic Type R. It's about there. It's about the same, but it sounds a whole lot better. And when it sounds a whole
Mhm.
lot better, it just activates everything in your head to think this is a better car than the Civic
Yeah,
Type R.
yeah, and it looks the part. Um, but yeah, I can't see myself buying that kind of car. But yeah, Kona, it's such a cool shape. I mean, look at that bumper. It's got vents there. That
All the
third brake light is sensational. Um,
little triangle mounted all the way to the top.
yeah, I think this will be an all-wheel drive. You know, that's not confirmed yet, but the Kona platform is set up for all-wheel drive, and it makes sense to. It shouldn't be too difficult to adapt that to the N motor that's on the
But if
Veloster.
Hyundai was to kind of cheap out and just move the transplant, the information from the Veloster over, it's going to be just front wheel drive. It's
Mhm.
confirmed that it's only going to be an automatic. There's no manual offered, or at least a dual clutch, I should say. So who knows? We'll have to kind of wait and see in the future to see what Hyundai has in store.
Yeah, I hope it gets all-wheel drive. I think that will make it, as a winter car, as in Canada, it is kind of nice to have that extra set of drive wheels, I think.
This,
And yeah, I mean, and this is gonna be based on a car that has all-wheel drive. It's gonna be weird to have a model that's higher than the base models, but is more expensive, but doesn't have all-wheel drive. I think it would be a
yeah, it
miss.
may be a detriment to the brand itself or to the Kona name.
Yeah, but Hyundai Kia doesn't have like a dynamic, specifically like a dynamic all-wheel drive system.
They don't. Their newer all-wheel drive systems are good, but not great. The Kona all-wheel
Mhm.
drive system, especially paired with the dual clutch that's in the regular one, actually tends to
Mhm.
overheat. It actually has quite a few problems if you're taking it like off road. But
Mhm.
that was really the transmission. But with this, it should be better because it's going to be the wet clutch setup that you get with the Veloster.
Veloster DCT.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Moving right on to more of an update than anything else.
Yeah,
The
it's just a
new Super
facelift.
Duty.
Not even much of a facelift, really. The interior gets a major facelift on new Ford Super Duty, so that's your F-250 and up. Very similar shape dash as before, but we're seeing the 12-inch infotainment screen move over to the Super Duty models. That's carried over from the brand new F-150. Uh, Obviously, it's completely different drivetrains. Super Duty for Ford, we've got the 7.3 engine, the gas engine that came out pretty recently. Supposedly, it's very heavy duty
Yeah, the
uh,
push rod.
push rod. And then they have their diesel, the crazy diesel power, and so it's got best in class towing, best in class payload. It's a really it's a work truck, but as we kind of know, these also become daily drivers. So for a lot of people, this is their one. If it's their family vehicle, they want to take their boat out, they want to take their RV or whatever recreational activities. Having a Super Duty is slowly becoming kind of the norm for a lot of families. So having that updated infotainment system with the Sync 4 now, I think that's going to be a nice touch. I think overall, the 2021 F-150, even though it's a brand new model, it wasn't like groundbreaking enough to really, you know, kind of shake up the market too much. But one thing, Ford has this 12-inch infotainment screen.
Mhm.
Ram obviously has their giant. How many inches that screen? The
I
tablet,
think it's also a 12. I could be wrong.
but it's portrait, I
It's a
guess.
portrait screen. Yeah.
Yeah, portrait, and then it's flanked with buttons on the side. So it's not so conventional. It looks almost aftermarket to me. I like what Ford has done. I think they're targeting that traditional truck buyer. They have a more conventional not infotainment, but a climate control system,
Mhm.
volume knobs, and it's just everything is quite logically laid out. It's quite simple. Sync 3 was pretty solid. Sync 4, I must be better. I haven't played with Sync 4 yet.
So I haven't played with Sync 4 myself, but I was taking a look at some other people review, like the Bronco Sport, which has a
Mm,
Sync 4. They were saying pretty negative things about it. How the system itself, it doesn't like interact with the knobs like as quickly as before, and
mm,
some other stuff. So um, I have the Explorer booked in the future here, so I can
yeah.
definitely kind of
I
touch on
think
that
the
in the future.
Bronco Sport and the Explorer both have the issue of having kind of a lackluster screen. This one, maybe hardware wise, is probably superior to those ones. Just looking at what's in the F one
The
fifty
F
and
one
this one,
fifty, yeah,
yeah, because the F 150s, I think generally people have better things to say about it. It's just in the right spot, and I mean that is their volume leader. That is their bread and butter car. So
mm.
I think that's the one they have to nail it on. But the Explorer one is awkward to me.
Especially with the portrait kind of tablet stuck on
But
top.
it's too far away and it's so small too.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't look right. But yeah, a few new packages with the Super Duty. Um, but yeah, we haven't seen what the base model looks like. I'm not. Well, it's not going to get that XL. I mean, it's not going to get that 12-inch screen on the XL model. I doubt it. Actually,
Mhm.
it's standard on the Lariat up, but I'm sure you can option an XLT up to that, but probably not that base model work truck
Yeah.
spec. You probably don't get it. I'm curious what the interior looks like because they've changed the shape of the dash a little bit, not a crazy amount. So I'm wondering if they carried that over
Just
to
carry
the
over from
lower trim.
previous. I mean, if we
Yeah.
look back a little bit in the history of Ford, some of their like Explorer, I'm talking maybe like 2016 or so,
Mm.
when you have the base model screen, and that was like I think a 3.5 or 4 inch little display,
Yep.
and that was it.
Yeah, I think
So
they are still doing that.
yeah, that was not great because it was this
Yeah.
little 3.5 or 4 inch screen flanked by this big roll of just black plastic around it. It
Yeah, my
looked horrendous.
2016 F-150 had that too, but it again, it looks more in place on the F-150, like CD player and the big number pad and stuff. It looks more normal in that, but when you get down to the Focus and it was like your backup camera is so small and far away, um, yeah,
Yeah, didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, Super Duty, and then obviously we got the Tremor recently is a new package on the Super Duty.
Yeah.
So again, they're trying to reach a bigger market. They're trying to make these more mainstream, not just a work truck. So yeah, the updated infotainment. That's the big news really for 2022. I think this will
I
still
mean,
be a volume leader as far as heavy duty trucks go.
for truck people, it's always been known that they're very brand loyal. I mean, if you had a Ford in the past, you had good experience with it, you're probably sticking with the same brand. You're not going somewhere else. So these upgrades that they're doing, they're not really attracting from other manufacturers as much
Mhm.
as they're just making sure they're staying in line with the times.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've always been brand loyal, short of the newer GM trucks, which, as we've seen, the market has shifted a little bit. You can't sell that terrible interior anymore, and they've lost a lot of market share ultimately to Ram and
Ram
also and
to
even to
Nissan.
Ford of I guess there are I guess soon we'll talk about the new Tundra that is on the way, and there's quite a few rumors and shots on that. But Tundra honestly is at least in its first few years is going to be it's going to take some market share from that GMC for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's really all I got for the Super
Yeah.
Duty here. You got anything else?
No, I think that's pretty good for the news this week. There's nothing too groundbreaking there.
Definitely not. But we want to talk about something, a little discussion here about
Mhm.
forbidden fruit.
Yeah, it's those cars that we don't get in North America here because all I hear from, car enthusiasts, where, I talk to so many car people, a lot of people like these cars that we just don't get. And usually it's a wagon or something very small or just like different segments that we just don't get in North America just because our our price points are not quite as spread out. We talked about this. We don't have the same sub segments to fill, and so we don't get a lot of the products that come to market in Canada. Like same with engine options, we usually only get maybe one or two, while in Europe you get maybe five or six options
Yeah, there's a
for
lot more
engines.
engine options.
Yeah. So the Jaguar XF Sport Brake, this was updated for uh 2022 or 2021.
I think it's
This is
2020.
2021.
I think it's 2021, but
Yeah.
I think in 2020 is when Jaguar pulled the Sport Brake out of the US. We never got it here in Canada. So we never got it to begin with. So we can't be super upset by it, but it is fully out of North America now.
Yeah, I mean, and this car, even if they were to have sold it here, it wouldn't have sold well against uh, Range Rover. I mean, just talking about in the same stable, Range Rover sell pretty well here. Land Rover products. I think this XF, it looks a little bit awkward to me for my liking, and it's going to be expensive. And I just, you can't a lot of people say, well, why don't you guys bring these cars here? Well, you got to start buying them. You can't be buying them used, waiting for people to offload them. You have to buy them brand new for a manufacturer to bring it to
But
market.
but that's the
So,
problem. The people that
exactly,
want these cars can't
they
afford them new.
don't have $80,000 to spend on this car brand new. And the
They
people
have
that do are buying Range Rovers.
and I mean, let's be honest. If this was 80 brand new, in like 2 years, it'll probably be like 30,000. And that's when people like myself can afford to buy them. But then we'll look at the maintenance and we're like, you know what? We maybe want something else.
Exactly. So there's just too many alternatives. I think we have to be realistic about it. I mean, when they brought the FRS out, that was one of those cars that that's a car that enthusiasts have been asking for, and a decent amount of people did buy them brand new, but mostly in the first 2 years, and then sales dropped quite significantly after the Toyota 86 does not sell that well.
No.
And then yeah, even later model BRZ, I would say 2016 afterwards, like it's just sales went down quite a bit, and that's just the sign of the the used cars catch up, but that money does not go to Subaru or Toyota or Scion or whoever it is. So we got to remember to, if you want it, you have to buy it.
You
Ford,
have to buy it new.
Fiesta ST, same thing. We bitched about it for. Am I allowed to swear on this show?
No, I'm gonna have to find that and beep it out. Thanks for that.
Nice. The Fiesta ST. That's another car that we complain about for years. The Focus RS, Focus ST, Fiesta ST. We always complain, why do Europeans always get these cool Ford models? Why are we stuck with, depressing Ford Focus with Microsoft Sync? Like that was the selling point of it. And then they bring it here, and then no one buys it. I
You bought
bought
one?
one.
Yeah.
I bought one, and it was a great value, and it was a fun car, and it's like, but you know what? If you guys don't buy it, and they priced this car right too. That car brand new was 23,000. Um,
And how
yeah,
much did
I
you
thought
lose selling it a few years later?
not too bad actually, about 6 grand. which is which is solid, like minus obviously all the modifications and everything. You can't factor that in, but
Right.
seeing what they go for used now, they're actually holding their value pretty well.
Yeah.
So Fiesta is doing well. Focus is not doing as well, but it's still solid. It's in line with the GTI. And then even with GTI, like that's on its way out, I want to say. The Mark 8 generation, they've already canceled the Golf for North America. It's only the GTI and the Golf R we're getting. So, we have to keep buying these cars, or else manufacturers won't make them. Like I think the Fiesta, the ST models from Ford are a great example, because
Well, we
we
are
always wanted it, and then we just don't buy it. We're just hypocrites.
speaking of the GTI. That is something that we don't get. I think it's called the T Rock. Is it?
Mm,
Yes, T
a
Rock.
little
So
sporty.
the T Rock is basically like a smaller version of the Tiguan. So it's like kind of polo sized, but it's
Yeah.
still like slightly bigger than a Golf. This is actually super popular in comparison to like what the Golf is. And there is an R version of the T Rock which uses the same engine and drivetrain as the Golf R.
Hmm.
So it makes sense. Like people are like, you're absolutely right. There are tons of people that whine and complain that we can't get these cool cars, but
And then
I
the
mean, if you
same
don't,
people that are too cheap to buy them brand new, they're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna buy that new. Like that car's gonna depreciate." Meh, meh, meh." Like, well, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't only want to spend this much and want them to bring new products to market, like, or different products to market. It's just
it it
not.
sounds exactly like me. I mean, there's a lot of cars that I want, but I'm like, I just don't want to pay that for it.
Yeah. There's anomalies out there. I think the Type R was a really good example. They can't keep them in stock. The
Mhm.
FK8 Type R, that's one that people have put their money where their mouth is. I think if we will see a next generation Type R, most likely we're gonna get them in Canada. This car doesn't make them money. Like I think it costs quite a bit to bring them over from Europe,
Mhm.
but it's a cool car that well, the price has gone up a little bit, but
Yeah,
um,
especially on that limited edition one. It's crazy
ooh,
amount.
yeah, and you can't even get one now because they stopped production for a few weeks, and they're all accounted for. Unless someone's backing out of one, you're not gonna get your hands on any FK8 anymore. From what I know,
Mhm.
they're basically done for. Um, but yeah, this. I mean, let's say the new Supra is another one of those enthusiast cars. We'll see how that does. Um, the A90 Supra, that's a car that we want. Toyota's not hurting for cash, but even then, they still need people to buy them to keep making them.
Yeah.
The Supra, it's proven itself to be quite the performer on track. It looks pretty cool. I think everyone who sees them loves them. Like it turns heads. This
Yeah.
car.
It's a great
Uh,
driving vehicle as well. Like,
I think
yes,
so.
it's a lot of BMW, and BMW makes great driving cars. I don't personally think there's any issues with the fact that this is co-developed with BMW. In fact, I like the fact that it's co-developed with BMW.
Yeah, because otherwise we would have got a 2GR Supra, and like instead of instead of GR Supra, they gave us the 3.5 V6 out of an IS 350, and be like, there you go, it's super reliable and enjoy. Like,
But
it'd be so
not
depressing.
not only that, it wouldn't be priced where it is now. If they have to go through all the development themselves,
Mm,
it's priced like the NSX. I mean, you don't see the new gen NSX out there because they're not attainable.
yeah, and you know what? For its segment, I looked this up recently, and the Supra does actually sell better than like a Cayman. But that's just maybe because of production volume and whatnot. It is actually the volume leader in its segment for how small that segment is. So people are buying them. They're just not. I think a lot of the fanboys and also the haters. There's everyone thinks they're such a comedian when they say, "Oh, that's a BMW." Like, that joke was not even funny when it first came out, and you just look stupid saying it now. Like, you still calling it, you think that's an insult. Like, can you imagine like someone pointing at your, oh, that's a Rolex. Like, that's a BMW. Like, would you point at someone driving an M4 going, oh, that's a BMW? Like, I think that's people that's those quote unquote car people that have so little car knowledge, and then they want to flex that tiny bit of car knowledge that they have, that, oh, I bet you didn't know that's a BMW. Like, no, the whole world knows that's a BMW. Yeah,
Man,
anyone who cares knows that's a BMW. But
Justin, you seem a little triggered there.
oh, so triggered. I hate those like comedian types. Like, you're not a comedian. Like, just just leave it, drop it. Yeah, but hopefully the Supra sells well enough that we'll keep seeing this kind of car. The new 400Z from Nissan. Obviously they didn't see that potential. I think that's why the 370 took so long to get their update, over a decade to get their update, because it's not where you want to be investing your money in. You want to invest into making the Rogue a better car,
Yeah,
because you'll sell 20 of those to one
more like
370 or
100.
400. Probably, yeah. Yeah, like, no matter how much you could make that car better, the 400Z, it's still not gonna, the numbers are gonna pale in comparison to
Yeah.
any crossover.
More of the story: buy cars that you want now because they're still available. Two cars come to mind. The C43 AMG wagon is a Canadian exclusive C43 AMG wagon. Buy that now,
Hmm.
or else it's going to be gone. The A35 AMG, also another Canadian exclusive hatchback. Buy that now before it's gone,
Hmm.
because it's going to be.
And then, you know what? Because of all the people speculating that this car will depreciate, that car's used car value is still gonna hold like reasonably well. If you look at the hot, what is that? Not really the hot one, but like the 328D, the F30 generation with the M Sport package,
Oh,
the one
yes.
that just looks super nice, but it's a diesel, and it's pretty desirable. Like, yeah, that sports wagon, those hold their value super well, because
Yeah, I can't
guess
find the
what?
used one.
No one wanted to spend 60 grand on that brand new,
Yeah.
and everyone lusts after it used. So buy that car. Buy that car. Even if you're brand new, that car is going to hold its value, because people, the cheap people, are going to want it a few years down the road,
Yeah.
and there will be enough of them to keep your value high.
If anyone's watching right now or listening, and you have a 328D wagon with the M Sport package and it's in that blue that I love, let me know. I might be interested.
Yeah. Man, even the I just pulled them up real quick, and even the non-M version, like a 2017, so that's past warranty, is still going for 30 mid 30s, which is pretty decent for that car. In comparison, like a 328i or a 330i of like a 2016 is nowhere near there.
Yeah,
It's
definitely,
10 grand less. So
definitely didn't retain its value.
yeah, the sedan, because they're just everywhere, because that's the one that people buy, I guess.
Yeah,
So if you get those unicorn cars, they do tend to hold their value. So, and the same with the Fiesta ST, it's pretty solid.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
Well, let's move on for that to our last little point here. This is what I released just earlier in the week: the 2021 Mazda CX-9 Kuro Edition. Justin has a lot of thoughts on the CX-9. It's all going to be pretty negative, so I'm gonna like keep talking so he can't say anything here. But essentially, the CX-9 is for people who want a two-row SUV, but just in case, have that three-row as an option. It's
Mm,
not really designed for people who have like 5 kids. Although there
yeah.
was one person that replied within, we are a family of 7 with infant seats and rear facing convertibles. They were all able to fit in to the CX-9. Maybe they're like actually physically like a smaller family. But like I tried to get into the third row. It was not easy, and
Mm.
not comfortable. So I
Well,
will admit that.
I think when you have like a maybe 7 or 8 year old kid that will climb back there themselves, it works perfectly fine. But like you said, it's not for those people that regularly need to use that third row.
Mhm.
And Kuro edition means it's the black edition.
So Kuro means it's like the special edition. So there's a lot of
Okay.
pieces on it that's blacked out, but it doesn't have all the features that the signature model gets you. So it doesn't have
Okay.
like the Napa leather, um, and some other stuff I can't remember.
Yeah, because I'm like Kuro means black in Japanese, and the grill is all chrome, and
No,
from the
no, no.
front
The grill
angle,
is black.
that wasn't that chrome
No,
just
the
now.
grill is black. The
Oh,
grill itself is the
the
surround is
big
chrome.
surround is chrome.
The
Yeah.
wheels are black. The mirrors are black.
Okay. Yeah, it's not as blacked out as like the Toyota Nightshades or the
Oh
even
no,
the Pilot black
black edition that is
edition.
completely
That's
black.
very black.
Yeah,
That seems like that's the thing nowadays is every manufacturer
blackout.
is doing this is a
Yeah.
blackout package. The Ford Super Duty that we just talked about for 2022, there's a new black sports appearance package for the XLT model.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I think what they saw was like, remember when Plasti Dip was a thing and everyone
mhm,
Plasti dipped their car? They're like, hey,
yeah,
you know what? Everyone's doing that aftermarket. Why don't we just do that from the factory?
yeah, and
And
you know what? The gloss black trim just leads to like swirl marks and everything. And it's just yeah,
uh,
as bad as it is on the inside, now having to deal with it on the outside is
yeah,
yeah. But
I
it does look cool from afar. Yeah.
the CX-9 personally, I think it's a great looking SUV. I love the way that it looks from the outside. Inside, it's all right. It needs an update, which is
Mhm.
going to be coming soon. I'm thinking 2023, but a 20 it's coming in 2023 model, but 2022 like mid-year. It's when it's going to come out because that's when the new Mazda 6 is going to come out as well.
Right.
So we should see an update sometime from Mazda. We got to understand Mazda isn't as big of a company as Honda and Toyota is. So they
Eh,
don't have as much money. The
Yeah, and
CX-9,
speaking of which, I mean, the Honda hasn't been updated for just as long as this car.
yeah,
So
the Pilot hasn't been updated for just as long. The CX-9 is not a world vehicle, so it's not sold in like Japan and some other places. Its main focus is here in North America because here in North America we like bigger SUVs. In Japan, there's actually a CX-8. Yeah, CX-8. The CX-8 is basically a CX-5, but with a third row in it and
hmm,
stretched. They don't get
yeah,
the CX-9 because they don't need the width.
yeah. I mean, and this car's not cheap. The Kuro edition is what 52
Uh,
before destination.
50,000. Yeah,
Yeah,
52 probably with destination. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's still using a 6-speed auto, as I
It's fine.
always like to point out on all it. It's fine. It's fine. I mean, uh, it's not the car that I would get, because if I was shopping for around 50 to 60,000, you can get into the base model MDX, which just got updated
Mhm.
for 2022. I think that's a luxury brand and has some features. I mean, how loaded up is this Kuro edition?
It basically has everything that you really need. Has a 360 camera. It has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless CarPlay. Like
Mhm.
like it has everything that you would need in a vehicle, I would say. Um, I mean, the only thing that I would say is really missing is like on some of the newer SUVs, you get like the panoramic sunroof. That's really it. There's heated seats front and on the back. Like it has all the stuff.
Yeah, and like any other Mazda, it handles great. It drives
Yeah.
great. The typical great materials overall, but where it counts, though, I mean, as far as like trunk space behind the third row, or
Yeah, trunk
you know,
space behind the third row is quite small. There isn't a whole lot of space back there, and that's one of the
yeah,
biggest downfalls for it. That's why I'm saying like it's really a two-row SUV with that optional third.
right. If you treat it as a two-row SUV, then you have a huge trunk.
Yep.
Yeah, when the with the third row's folded down. Uh, yeah, this interior does start to feel a little bit old. I think the vent layout and the screen layout, yeah, just starting to get a little bit tired of it from Mazda.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit dated. It didn't get like the updates that like the CX-5 got, so the interior doesn't feel as premium as this like the
Yeah,
CX-5.
or even the CX-30, like,
Yeah,
that's the newer style
that's a new gen
interior.
Mazda. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that will be. I wonder if they'll call it a CX-90.
Maybe because they are going to be changing the entire like naming scheme into CX-30, so like a 30 destination. The CX-5 is supposed to be the CX-50.
Hmm.
So
So yeah, we might see a CX-90, and then yeah, this is maybe more. Remember the old CX-7? That was such an oddball car in the
mhm.
market. Um, this is kind of like that. It has its unique buyer, and I do see people buying them. Uh, if you're just looking for what makes sense on paper, that's probably not the car for you.
No,
But if you want something a little bit sportier,
a little bit more fun to drive.
yeah, I'm not against this. It's not what I want for if I were shopping for my family. But yeah,
Yeah, my wife absolutely loves this. My wife is like an advocate for Mazda. She loves every single Mazda that comes out. Right now, we have a CX-30, and she's in love with it. She thinks this is like the perfect family vehicle. As you can see, we fit our child seat in there, and it's perfect.
yeah, it's easy to fit, and for someone like you with one child, maybe two, then it's just perfectly fine. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Definitely for two. I wouldn't
This or
do
a
much more than that.
minivan, though. You can get a really nice minivan for this kind of money.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? When you're looking at uh, SUVs, they don't have the space that minivans gives you. But for a lot of people, the minivan just isn't as cool. But I mean, that actually leads very nicely into my next week's video, which is the Sienna.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mazda, that's one market that they don't want to tap into here in North America. Sienna, Odyssey, the Kia van, and
Carnival.
that's about. Well, yeah, the new one is the Carnival. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think that would be really cool for Mazda to come up with a van that's a little bit sportier, a little bit more premium, and it's just the
It's not
same
going to happen.
philosophy that we've seen. Of course, it's not going to happen because people aren't excited about minivans anymore.
Other than us.
Other than us, and then your traditional van buyer, like the Sienna buyers and the Odyssey customers, I mean, those sell pretty well. So it's not like the segment is not dead, but they're not really necessarily looking for that sporty, quote unquote. Well, they want that sporty look that you get on a Sienna XSE, but they don't really want a sporty drive.
No.
Or it's really about maximizing practicality, and that's something that Mazda hasn't been able to do, I think, on any of their products, is to make just the most practical version
Yeah.
of whatever.
All their vehicles, they take
It's a
kind of like the
compromise.
it is a very big compromise on the way that the vehicle feels and drives versus what it can actually hold inside. Like the
Mhm,
CX-30 that I have, it's an amazing vehicle to drive. The turbo motor that's in it, it's quick, it's really fun. But
mhm,
in the back, if I want to have two adults back there, I mean, it's fine, but it's a squeeze. There
mhm.
are other vehicles out there that's going to be better.
Speaking of vehicles that like car enthusiast quote unquote types like, that Mazda 5 6-speed manual, like that car is like what every like jalopnik type wants. Having driven it though, the seating position is super awkward. The car is underpowered. It's not doesn't handle very well. Um,
This
and it's not
was
that roomy.
this is this is Mazda saying, "Hey, we have the Mazda 3. Why don't we just make it a little bit taller and call it the 5 and see if it'll sell?" It actually sold pretty well. You actually still see a lot of them on the road.
Mm,
And for a lot of families, for one or two, it actually makes sense. It's a six passenger, so you get two captain chairs in the middle.
mm.
But like the amount of space there is inside, because it is sliding doors and because the rear is a hatch and there's tons of space, it's a great four passenger vehicle, not so much for six.
Yeah, it's a great city city car
Yeah.
with a little bit more space. Uh I think they could do better with it. Like the thing is, when that Mazda 5 first came out in '06, it was kind of sweet. And then 10 years down the road, or when did they kill this off? Around 10 years after that. Like there's no speed. Yeah.
Um,
I think
I don't
that
know if
was just
you
like a
remember
project
this
car.
article. This is from Car and Driver.
Mhm.
um, Car and Driver went to Cobb and they're like, "Hey, I have a Mazda Speed 3 and here's a Mazda 5. Can you put the two together?" And they did. It was actually an amazing article back then. I remember reading this.
Yeah, I think that kind of product is it's definitely one of those cars that everyone would like and no one would ever buy,
No one will buy it. No.
and then they would never make it again, or
Yeah.
they would never go to production, and it's just one of those things. And then, but the crazy thing is the people that want these, they will go, why doesn't Mazda make this anymore? Why don't they make the 6-speed manual limited slip differential turbo minivan anymore? It's like, did you buy it? Did you tell anyone to buy it? No. But
It goes
I
back
don't
to our
know.
previous point, the forbidden fruit.
Exactly. It's forbidden for a good reason. I think there is potential there though, because they they kind of updated the Mazda 3 multiple times, and then they didn't touch the 5 very much. Like they gave it a facelift,
Yeah.
but overall it was pretty much the same underneath,
Yeah, it was
and
the
it
exact same.
wasn't very good on gas by modern standards later in the mid 2010s. Uh, Obviously, yeah. So 2016 Mazda 5 GT. By 2016, this car was it just didn't make any sense anymore. But
No.
brand new in '06, I think there was a good case for it. Um,
But
so that's not to say,
it was good enough to spark Kia to make the Rondo,
yeah, I think
which was
these kind of MPV category vehicles, they work in Asia and Europe, and they don't really survive in North America. But the Rondo second generation looked a lot better than the first one.
oh, absolutely.
Super practical car.
And
Dodge Journey again. The Dodge Journey. That's more conventional, and that thing super low MSRP, like so much space for the money, and 2.4 and a V6 option. The V6 was not that much more. Um, terribly built car, like the cheapest interior you could find,
You
but just
know you
on the
could
outside it looked cool. Like it looked kind of like a Jeep, like
you
off-roady
you know you
SUV
could buy
car.
this like until last year, right?
I
The
know
exact
I
same. It wasn't discontinued.
they're 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 not terrible cars. Like they're actually still on the website now. You can still buy them
Oh, you can
new.
still buy them brand new.
20
Oh
20
gosh.
2020s. Yeah,
Uh,
that is the Stellantis Chrysler business model, is to keep selling last year and the
okay.
year before. I dare any one of you listening to go into a Fiat or Alfa Romeo dealership, see what kind of discount you can get on a brand new 2018 model year car.
They probably have a few on the lot. Just
No, you know what's crazy is when that 4C first came out, and I want to say like I told you so or you guys deserve it, but they were marking up those cars, the 4Cs, because they're so rare. So that was the forbidden fruit for a few years, and now they're stuck with them in their inventory. And you know what? They paid for that car coming in. They don't want to take a hit on it, but no one is paying for that car brand new in 2021 what it costs you in 2017. So good luck with all that inventory you're stuck with,
I think
greedy dealers.
I think FCA has a problem with that in general. Because the I saw Fiat 124 Spiders brand new
Mm,
2018s on the lot last year
yeah,
with like
and that you're
minimal.
just stuck in a bad place because you paid for that car and you still got to warranty that car if you sell it,
Yep.
unfortunately. And there's no more incentives on it because there's not going to be very competitive lease rates, finance rates, whatever. And yeah, they were just not priced. They were priced okay to begin with, but then when you try to dealer markup it, like I don't know, I have no sympathy for you for your extra greed. Like, yeah, it's just a terrible product at the end of the day. I don't know. It's not compelling. But no, the journey. I think that segment makes sense. I don't know why they haven't brought it back. Chevy Orlando. You know what the coolest thing about Chevy Orlando is? 18-inch hubcaps.
Really?
That's a 16-inch alloy wheel, but you could get this car. I don't know how, but they had an 18-inch hubcap.
Hubcap? Dang,
Yeah.
that's impressive. That's
Yeah.
that's
That car is so ugly. It's like,
they yeah they given up when they designed this.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really it for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for Kicking Tires. We'll be We'll be back. we'll be we'll be we'll be back next week to talk about more car news and car reviews. And we'll see you guys
Yeah.
then.
See ya.